Am I audible now?
Yes,
Am
yes.
I audible?
Yes,
madam,
very
much.
clear now.
Now we are moving to our second session. Our Trivandrum DMO is here. I request Trivandrum DMO, Dr. Jose de Cruz, to give a few words. Sir, please. The second session is on Mission Indradhanush. Sir, please.
Even though Mission Indradhanush 4.0 will be implemented in Kerala during the month of April, May, that is in the second section, we are in the process of planning how to implement this Mission Indradhanush in the state. So, it is highly appreciable from the part of IAP to get forward with this topic to motivate, to organize our IAP members to come forward with the sessions and activities to implement the Mission Indradhanush program. Almost everyone may be aware that due to the COVID scenario, we are very much in the back foot in the field of immunization, routine immunization. So also catching the dropouts and partially immunized children were also affected by this COVID lockdown activities. So in order to fill up this gap, Government of India is coming forward with the Mission Indradhanush, and it is the main responsibility of the state governments to implement this program. And with the help of IAP, we can motivate the stakeholders. Mainly the pediatricians are the backbone for implementing this program. So as well as the health service department in association with the private practitioners also. So it is a great opportunity to share some moments with the IAP who is coming forward to implement this program in Chandran district. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now let me welcome Dr. Divya, RCH officer, to say a few words. Dr. Divya, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to be here at this meeting organized by IAP Thiruvananthapuram. And in the first place, let me thank IAP Thiruvananthapuram for being helpful in all activities concerned with child health that has happened in the district for the past 2 years. That was ever since I joined as the RCH officer. Thank you all for the help extended in the field of child health activities. Be it an immunization program or a outreach medical camp or a catch-up immunization, whatever be it, IAP was always there, also in our training sessions. And now that our district, as we look at the data, we have an immunization coverage of 92.1%, and IAP has come up with the idea of achieving 100% vaccination in the district by holding hands with us in the program of Mission Indradhanush. I take this opportunity to thank you for all the help extended and also request wholehearted support and continued help from all of you. Thank you.
Mute.
Thank you, madam. Our state president and our state secretary has joined us now. They had another meeting. They have just joined. So I welcome Vijay Kumar sir. Sir, please give a few words on we are having Mission Indradhanush as our second program.
Respected President IAP Thiruvananthapuram, Dr. Rugmini Madam, Secretary Dr. Siby, Treasurer Dr. Benno, Dr. Johnny Sebastian, IAP State Secretary, and the pillar behind all these presidential action plans, Dr. Basavaraj, past HSG, and Dr. Narayanan, the past president of IAP Kerala and EB member of CIAP and the chairperson of this program, Dr. Jose De Cruz, DMO, Dr. Divya Sadashivan, Dr. RCH officer, and the speaker, Dr. Prathap Chandran, State Surveillance Medical Officer, WHO. This is a great kickstart for our immunization programs and the state president's action plan on immunization for all children. And this immunization scenario is badly affected by our COVID pandemic, and we have to take it back, and we have to increase our immunization status of our children and make it almost 100% by this year. And the topic is very apt topic, intensification of Mission Indradhanush to reach 100% immunization in children. That is the topic of the day, and I congratulate IAP Trivandrum to start this program in a very grand manner. And as our RCH officer was telling, IAP was in forefront in Trivandrum with their Kavacham program and all. And even all other districts in Kerala, IAP had done a very great role for increasing immunization status. Still, in the states like Malappuram and Calicut, the immunization status is far behind the expectation. I wish the program a grand success. Jai Hind and JAP. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Dr. Joni Sebastian, our State Secretary, to say a few words, sir. Sir, please.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Good evening, all. Respected Chair and IAP Trivandrum President, Dr. Rugmini, madam, the vibrant Secretary of IAP Trivandrum, my friend, Dr. Siby, my leader and State President, Vijay Kumar, sir, immediate past National Secretary, Basavaraj, sir, my well-wisher in IAP, DMO of Health Trivandrum, Jose De Cruz, sir, RCH officer, Dr. Divya, the speaker for the day, Dr. Prathap Chandran, sir, SMO, and the moderator, Dr. M.Narayanan, sir, the national EB member, as well as the past state president, other dignitaries, seniors, and my dear friends who have joined today on this platform. I'm extremely happy to see IAP Trivandrum taking up this initiative for arranging a webinar on Mission Indradhanush4, as well as to increase our immunization coverage in the state. As an academy of pediatricians, IAP Kerala will always support Government of Kerala as well as the Health Service Department in whatever possible way to increase the immunization coverage. As we had a round of discussions with the SMO sir as well as the Deputy Additional DHS madam, I feel after the COVID has set in, the immunization rates have considerably fallen in our state. So today we have with us even IAP Tamil Nadu chapter Secretary Jalil Ahmed sir also with us. So as a whole, the IAP at the national level and as well as all the states are striving hard to pick up the immunization coverage in all the states after the COVID has set in. I wish the CMA today all the very best. Thank you. Jai Hind, JIAP. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we are moving to the second session. I invite the chair, Dr. Narayanan, and also Dr. Prathap Chandran, the state SMO. Dr. Narayanan, sir doesn't need an introduction actually because he is an alumni of SATH. He did our DCH in SATH. So my generation knows him very well. And he did his MD from ICH Chennai. He is a present National Executive Board member and he was the president of IAP Kerala 2020. And now he is a busy consultant at San Children Clinic, Kochi. Narayanan sir, I invite you for the session and also to introduce the speaker, sir.
Yeah, good evening to you all.
Thank you, Dr. Rugmini and Dr. Siby, Kurian Philip for this opportunity. My dear President, Dr. Vijay Kumar, Secretary, Dr. Joni Sebastian, my good friend, Dr. Jalila Ahmad, Dr. Somashekhar, Dr. Harpreet Singh, and Dr. Anandayaswan is there, Dr. Basavaraja, RCH officer, Dr. Divya, Jos Dikrus, DMO, my dear friends in IAP, Kerala, and senior pediatricians. Before going to the topic proper, I have a small request to you. You have heard our former Secretary General, Dr. Basavaraj, chairing the session. I don't know whether all of you know that Dr. Basavaraj has declared his candidature for the presidency of CIAP, President-elect 2023. So I don't have to introduce Dr. Basavaraj to you. During the launch of his candidature, he was mentioned by everybody as the mitochondria of IAP, CIAP. See, even at this hour, he is bubbling with energy. So a good friend of us, known to all of us, who helped us a lot and will be helping us in future also. And a branch like Trivandrum, which has got more than 400 members, very active members with a very good polling percentage. I request all of you to support Dr. Basavaraj, and I wish him all the best in this
Thank you very much,
election campaign. All the best, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Now coming to the pleasant duty entrusted to me, that is to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Prathap Chandran. You may be knowing that he belongs to the 1980th batch of Trivandrum Medical College, and after doing his MBBS, he joined for DCH at SAT Hospital Trivandrum, where I had the opportunity to work with him as a co-PG. He finished his DCH in 1990, and then went on to GR Medical College Gwalior to do his MD. He finished his MD in 1993, then did his DNP at KEM Mumbai, after which he joined the Health Service of Kerala, for which he worked till 1999. Then his passion for public health and his commitment to public health made him take the charge of, join WHO and take the charge of surveillance medical officer. He worked in, earlier he has been working in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and presently he has joined Kerala as the surveillance medical officer. And you may be knowing that he was the secretary of IAP Thiruvananthapuram in the year, gone back, 1995 and to 1997. A good friend of mine, very much committed to public health and especially immunization and pediatric health services. He is dealing with an important topic. IMI, Intensified Indradhanush, Mission Indradhanush. There's a 4th edition now, it is happening. You know, during the pandemic, it has been very difficult with each wave of the pandemic. There has been a considerable dip in the immunization status across the country, and even globally it has been there. So we have to compensate for that and bring back our immunization status to normal, maybe to 100%. With these few words, I welcome Dr. Prathap Chandran for the deliberation. Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend, Dr. Narayan, for the nice words and for reminding me of things which even I started forgetting. Okay, thank you so much. And respected dignitaries of IAP, state, district, and even from other states, DMO Trivandrum Dikrusa, RCHO Divya, and all the participants. Without much ado, I think it's already getting late, so I'll just go directly to the topic. I'll share my screen. Give me a second. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, visible. Yes, yes.
Okay. So the topic is on Intensified Mission Indradhanush. This is one of the flagship programs of Government of India. And in fact, this was launched in December 2014, long back in 2014. And the aim was to have a routine immunization coverage or improve the routine minimum 90%. And in fact, Kerala, as well as IAP Kerala, is aiming at 100%, near 100% coverage. But this particular program, because it's a national program, so aiming at a near 90% coverage, and to sustain this coverage through strengthened routine immunization. 701 districts were covered in various phases. And from 2014, many rounds of Indradhanush happened with many names like Indradhanush 1, 2, 3, then Intensified Indradhanush, and Indradhanush as part of Gram Swaraj Abhiyan, then Extended Gram Swaraj Abhiyan, then MI6, then there's launched Intensified Mission Indradhanush 2.0, then now 3.0, and now it's 4.0. Over the years, just through this program, around 3.86 crore children were vaccinated, a whopping number, and 96.8 lakh pregnant women were vaccinated by this program alone. And after initiating this program, under 5 mortality rate has come down from 45 to 36, which is not a small achievement. So, but still challenges are there. The national target 90%, but even after all this, still we are hovering around 77%. The latest National Family Health Survey shows the coverage is around 77.6% only. So there is a huge gap. We might think that, okay, this is happening only in other states. Kerala, no, maybe we are above 90%. Not very true. If you take Kerala, is one of the states, one of the very few states or UTs where there's a dip in immunization coverage from the previous family health survey and this family health survey. In Kerala, the dip was around 4.3%. When you say 4.3%, in number of children, it's a huge number when compared to the population of Kerala, child population of Kerala. Okay, what are the reasons for this dip? Or what are the problems, or what are the hurdles we face in achieving 90%? Forget about 100%, even 90% coverage. Many. One, equity issues. In a village, a town, corporation area, one. Financial inequities. Then educational inequities. Other social inequities. This can be an issue. We might think that at the village level can be an issue, but when we see practically, actually we are facing more issues in corporation areas or peri-urban areas in immunization, because in village level, every PSC, every frontline worker, he or she knows about each and every child in every household and their immunization status. But when we come to the urban areas, corporation areas, peri-urban areas, nobody knows who all stays in which all areas and how many of them are vaccinated, which all vaccines they have missed out on. That is one. Second, accessibility issues, especially in tribal areas, remote areas, hilly terrains, flooded areas, landslide areas. So accessibility issue. Then acceptance. Even in a state like Kerala, we do find pockets where we have issues in acceptance, refusals, resistance, and rapid urbanization. The same thing. When you go into an urban area, everything is a chaos. Then migrant population. This is one of the major factors affecting immunization coverage in Kerala, because for migrants, whatever said, and we don't have the exact data. We don't know how many families are settled down where and how many children are there, whether they are immunized. Even there, most of them, they don't have a card. Even asking them a question, the language barrier. So these are all issues. And over and above all these, we have COVID. Since last 2 years, because of this COVID, this has affected every program, including immunization. Every program has taken a backseat. Now COVID, and COVID only, including immunization. These are some of the issues we faced during COVID. One, interruption of the immunization services. Areas which are containment zone, no vaccination. Vaccinators going in for quarantine or isolation, immunization suspended or getting affected. Then Anganwadis are closed, where we used to conduct most of our sessions. Our frontline workers are engaged in COVID-related activities, so they cannot focus on immunization coverage. So every aspect of immunization got affected by COVID-19. Then from the parent side, from caretaker's side, they were hesitant to bring the child to a hospital setup during this COVID pandemic because they are scared their child might get COVID from these hospital visits. Then because of the COVID cross-migration of population, then data management, this is what Dr. Rugmini ma'am was saying. There are issues in, we have done vaccination, we have done immunization, but it is not reflecting in the portal which is supposed to project the immunization coverage. We have two portals. One is an HMIS portal, the other one is an RCH portal. So every child immunized, it should reflect. It is like an exam. You have studied everything. It is not reflected in an answer paper, your mark will be, you know what. So the same thing happens here also. Maybe we have immunized, but if it is not reflecting in the portal, when Government of India or any agency monitoring immunization, when they look at it, we are not covered. Then delayed vaccination. Because of the COVID, some children, they got delayed in their vaccination schedule. They are confused what to do, how to go about with the future doses. Even some of our frontline workers are confused about the delayed or catch-up vaccination. So these are some of the issues we face. To talk about IMI 4.0, this time, Government of India has selected 374 districts for Indradhanush program. But the most surprising or sad part of the whole thing is 9 districts of Kerala has been selected Indradhanush for the first time in the history of Indradhanush campaign. We used to get 1 or 2 or at the most 4 districts at the most, but this time 9 districts. So these are some of the criteria for selection of district for Indradhanush. 1, the number of children not vaccinated, not in percentage, the actual number of children not vaccinated as per this survey as well as from the portal entry. Second, the full immunization coverage reflected in NFHS or National Family Health Survey 5. Then drop in RI sessions planned and conducted. You might have planned a session because of many reasons you couldn't conduct the session. So the percentage of number of sessions that couldn't be conducted. Then incidents of measles, rubella, diphtheria, and other VPD outbreaks. That shows that there is some issue there. Immunization is affecting, the virus is transmitting there. So that is another. Then non-measles, non-rubella rate. That indirectly shows the surveillance. If you have something, if you have a polio amidst you, if you have a diphtheria amidst you, unless the surveillance is good, you will not pick it up unless it becomes a huge outbreak or it becomes a big issue. So surveillance is where, this is one factor where most of the districts got negative score. Non-measles, non-rubella indicators very dismal in our state. Then last one, demographic risk factor like migrant load. Again, Kerala has an issue here. Then vaccine refusal hesitancy. Many districts have this issue. Inaccessible areas. Then natural calamities like flooding and landslide. All these also scored. And this is how they scored. They give a score to each of these parameters. And depending on that, 9 districts of Kerala were selected, including our Thiruvananthapuram. And these are the 9 districts, including Thiruvananthapuram. Okay. Then there are some Kerala specific issues also in immunization. One, micro plan. See, for any program to be very perfect or well performing, there should be a plan. There should be a well-defined plan. Since last 2 years, micro plan has not been revised or a survey has been done, nor any adjustment done in this one. That's one thing. Second, outreach sessions. We do conduct sessions in our immunization clinics of PSCs, but outreach sessions suffered a lot in the past 2 years because outreach session is one where it's very easy or very practical for the beneficiary to come over and get the vaccines. But this is getting affected. Now it has come to such a state that hardly one outreach session is being conducted in a month per PSC or per sub-center, which is very much deficient in achieving the target. That is one thing. And second, it's not a fixed day. We need to have an outreach on a fixed day, like every Tuesday you are going to a village or a ward. Okay, the beneficiaries, they know, okay, if I go on a Tuesday to that area, I will get my vaccination. But now we are not doing that. It's in a random day. So That again confuses the beneficiary. Second, and another thing is, this happens only in Kerala, a compulsory presence of a medical officer at all the RI session sites. That again compromises the immunization session. As we know, every PSC will have maybe 1, 2, or maybe 3 medical officers. So only one person can go out for the outreach sessions. So with that person, they can conduct only one session, or they will be doing multiple sessions, but each session they will be doing it for maybe 1 hour. After 1 hour, they will move to another area. That again compromises the coverage. Then another one is training. Because we have many frontline workers, JPHNs, ANM, staff nurses, Anganwadi, Ashas, they have joined. They are not trained on this immunization, about the cold chain maintenance, about the catch-up immunization, about AEFI management and AEFI reporting, about the waste management, and ultimately how to enter the data in HMIS. That again compromises. Then another thing is the private hospital immunization data. One, the varying schedule, the private and the government setup. Then varying vaccines, like in government setup, if you call Penta, we know that contains 5 vaccines, including DPT, hepatitis B, and HIB. But if you say Pentaxim in a private sector, maybe the antigens are different. So that again creates confusion in entering it into this portal. Then not getting the data from the private hospitals. Like immunization is happening, but that data, unless it's shared with the corresponding or respective PHC, it will not reflect in the portal, the RCH or in the HMIS portal. And the last thing will be about the timing of hepatitis B birth dose and TD in pregnancy. As per Government of India directive, hepatitis B is to be given, birth dose of hepatitis B given within 24 hours of birth, which is not happening in many of the private hospitals. And similarly, TD, the first dose of TD is to be given immediately after confirming the pregnancy, which again is, so these are some of the issues. And the last and the most important is documentation. We are doing everything, but it's not getting documented. So these are some of the issues. So the initial plan was to have 3 rounds of IMA starting in February 7th. But because of the COVID surge, all the southern states, including Kerala, requested Government of India for a postponement of IMA activity in the southern states. So southern states are doing 3 rounds in March, April, and May. 3 rounds, each round lasting for 7 days. Government of India says including holidays, Sundays, and immunization days, but there is a flexibility. State can take a call on it. So what exactly we are supposed to do during immunization activity? The most important, identify the beneficiaries, identify the left out and drop out children and pregnant women. As per the Indradhanush program, we are enlisting only the under 2 children and pregnant women. But in Kerala, what we have discussed during the state training as well as during the district training, you identify all children who are left out, drop, whether they are under 2 or above 2. We document in the IMI portal only those who are under 2, but definitely we will enlist and immunize those who are above 2 years if they are due for any, or they are left out or dropped out on any of these antigens. So for this, how to identify this list? There are many ways we can do it. Ideally, we should do a survey, extensive survey in every district, so that we can enlist all the under 2 and all the pregnant women. And from that list, we can identify who have missed out on any of these antigens, then prepare a due list, but which is not practical at this time of COVID, with every frontline worker busy with other activities. So in high-risk areas, in migrant settlement, in remote inaccessible areas, in outbreak areas, in such high-risk areas, we might do a survey and identify the dropout left out. In other areas, from this portal, from the RCH portal, from the immunization register, which every ASHA and JPHN is having, from that register, and from the immunization cards, identify the children who are left out on dropout for antigen, enlist them and immunize them during this activity. So these are some of the activities we need to do. The minimum is 90% coverage. Then identifying, then we need support from everyone. We need some, because health service alone cannot do such a massive program to its 100% success. So we need support, especially from IAP, especially from our private practitioners. Then we need support from labor department for the migrant data and to have continue doing camps in their area, tribal department, forest department. Now, all the other departments also should come into this one. There should be communication for the need for this vaccine to the beneficiaries, to allay the fear in their minds about vaccine and the AEFIs. Then how to conduct the sessions during the COVID pandemic. Then intensive monitoring to ensure that a good campaign is happening. So, and whatever we learn and whatever we do during this IMA, it should be transferred to our routine immunization to strengthen that activity, so that we cannot go on doing this IMI program. So we need to strengthen the routine immunization, which is a backbone for preventing, eliminating, eradicating any of these VPDs. So these are the activities we need to conduct during IMI. One, as we said, prepare a due list of all children under 2 years and all pregnant women. But in Kerala, we will be enlisting even above 2. They may not be reported in our IMI portal, but they will be vaccinated. Then prioritizing the high-risk areas, then preparing a micro plan, then preparing session site, then coordination with various departments, then training of our frontline workers and all the aspects we mentioned, then a massive IEC program to ensure that this message goes to every beneficiary and their caretaker, that if they have missed out on any vaccine, this is an opportunity for them to get that vaccine, and a proper reporting of all that has happened. Then what do we expect from each one of you? Let's hold hands together to make this program a big success. Then let's identify and enlist all the left out and dropouts, especially in Trivandrum. IAP has taken this as a big challenge in the previous years, and we came out with a program called Kavacham, and that was a huge success. The ditto, we'll copy it this time again for this program, and which may be copied in other districts also. Then let's focus more on the high-risk area. As we mentioned, the migrants, the tribal population, the inaccessible areas, then vacant sub-centers where the JPHN was vacant for more than 3 months. So we do know how many children got left out because of this vacancy thing. Then VPD outbreak areas where already we have issues, areas hit by natural calamities, resistant refusal areas, and areas where home deliveries numbers are more, because those people who are more for home deliveries, they might refuse or resist routine vaccination also. So we need support from you in IEC. And a couple of things more. Earlier, all the pediatricians used to ask one simple question when any child comes for anything, whether it's for atopic dermatitis or even for any other thing. One question is about the immunization status of the child. But now, I don't know how many of the young pediatricians are doing that. That is one big question. Whenever a child comes to your hospital or in your clinic, this one question we should ask them. What about the immunization status? Because that gives them a sense, okay, this is something very important. That is one thing. And second, even Anthakeshwan sir is there. Another thing is during school entry. When the children go to school, the class teacher should inquire about the immunization status. So that again emphasizes the importance of immunization. That's one thing. And second, if any one of the vaccine is missed for that particular child, the parent can be sensitized by the teacher, and she can share that information to the nearest PHC so that that child can be vaccinated. For this, we need to start training the teachers, especially Anganwadi, nursery, kindergarten, because children who are less than maybe 1 year or 2 years, or maybe up to 3 years or 5 years. So those children going to those classes, we should maybe up to first standard, we need to sensitize. Again, Trivandrum has already started activity, because last week, I think Dr. Anju Kanmani and I think Dr. Praveen, they conducted classes for school teachers on immunization. That's a major step towards this 100% immunization. So we can do mimic or imitate these good practices in other districts also. Then support from the private hospital for birth dose, for TD vaccine pregnancy, and for data sharing. And along with immunization, we should discuss about the surveillance for VPDs. unless we ensure that the surveillance is doing good, we might miss out on areas where immunization is suffering and VPDs are happening. So we need to strengthen AFP, fever rash, and DPDs. For this also, we need your support. And this is how we are preparing the due list. In this one also, IAP and all pediatricians can support. If you find a child in your clinic, hospital is missed out on any of the doses, we can sensitize the parents or caretaker. Okay, immunization, this Indradhanush is coming up. Please take your child and get this vaccine done. And you can verify the immunization card also. So that's about this mission Indradhanush. I know it's very late, and the support is not only for Indradhanush, even for ongoing immunization, routine immunization program also. I mean, it's heartening to see that the state IAP leadership has taken up 100% immunization as a presidential action plan for this year. That's really heartening, and that is the need of the hour. Now we are riding on the past glory of maybe great achievements in pediatric immunization, but not anymore. So we should be aware of that, and we should be taking every step. Each and every one of us should be responsible for ensuring that every child is immunized. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Prathap, for the very brief and a very informative presentation. Now the topic is open for discussion. There is one question in the chat box that is from Dr. Sadiq from Kim's Health. That's about MMR. What about MMR vaccination? Private hospitals have only MMR. Why do mum's prevention? This question has been there for a long time. Maybe Dr. Prathap can answer that.
As Dr. Narayanan said, it's $1 million question. Why MR, not MMR in government setup? In fact, the recommendation when we introduced MR, it was for MMR. But Government of India gave us some excuses for not introducing MMR at present, but MR. The excuses were one, the cost of the vaccine. MMR is costlier than. No, I'm just quoting what Government of India said. Okay, there may be many objections to that. That is one thing. Second, they felt that mumps is not a public health concern at present. Third, before introduction of MR vaccine, especially the rubella containing vaccine, they want to have a campaign up to 15 years to prevent a shift of more rubella cases happening to child bearing age group, which might lead on to increased number of congenital rubella syndrome. Among all the three measles, mumps, rubella, mumps is the one which might lead on to more AEFIs like aseptic meningitis, encephalitis, all those things. So in a campaign, if any such incident gets reported, that might affect the campaign, and that might affect the introduction of the vaccine and acceptance by that is one of the things. And the last one they said about the immunogenicity. With even with a single dose of rubella vaccine, more than 97% of children get immunity against rubella. Those vaccines get immunity against rubella. With 2 doses of measles vaccine, again, more than 96% they get. But with mumps, even with 2 or 3 doses, the conversion rate is not very good. So these are some of the reasons what Government of India gave us for not introducing MMR to routine immunization. But if you can document that the outbreaks of mumps, the number of mumps cases happening, we can always. That's how from measles we switch to MR, and so that's possible. But we need to have data to show them that okay, we have an issue with mumps. That is one part. Second part, even if it's MMR given in the private, when the reporting comes, the question is not whether it is MR, measles, or MMR or MRV. The question is MR containing vaccine, MRCV. So whether we are giving MMR or MR, when the data is shared with Government of India RCH or HMIS portal, that also will be entered as MRCV or MR containing vaccine. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prathap. one apprehension what I have is that I think during your analysis, at some point you have taken the number of vaccines done in 2021. Surprisingly, the number of deliveries that happened in Kerala during 2021 is very less, is much less compared to that in 2020. As per the records in the birth registrar, 1.5 lakhs children, that was were less in 2021. Means in 2020 we had nearly 4.5 births, whereas in 2021 it is only 3 lakhs. So there is a deficit of 1.5 lakhs. Maybe due to the fear of conception during the 2020 due to the uncertainty of the pandemic, and maybe due to the financial aspects. So naturally, the number of immunizations, even if 100%, it will be much less in 2021 compared to 2020. That factor is there. I don't know whether that has come in the while processing the data. That's another thing. Another thing that what you have mentioned is that private hospitals data that is not properly shared for the final figures. That is also there.
Thank you,
Dr.
sir.
Narayan sir, chair, let me just make one point
Yeah,
here.
Dr. Somashekhar, welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, dear chair. And it was a wonderful session. I was fully listening to our friend SMO Prathap sir. And I was the expert advisor from the government during 2016 when the MR campaign was launched. The target was very heavy. The question, as a resource person, when we sensitize, give workshop for, the MOs and the SMOs, what I learned from Dr. Surendran and the Jacob John was that the data pertaining to the case load and the burden of mumps is not there. It has not been reported. So one factor is, as our chair, my friend Narayanan said, is the cost incurred. When we combine, it is not that much incurred and involved. Number two is the data, which was not enough to have and submit to the government of India, that it is also an important component in the MMR, that mumps also a very important component to be included. That was not insufficient data to show the disease burden. That was the one point which I learned from the stalwarts Jacob John and Surendran. This was another point which I wanted to just bring it to all the audience here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Somashekhar. You all know Somashekhar is the past Vice President of IAP Kerala from South Zone. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your inputs. Now over to Dr. Prathap for any of your comments.
Good evening, Somashekhar sir. So nice to see you again. What you said is exactly the reason, sir. So you won't believe, even this year, if you see the number of measles cases or rubella cases reported and investigated, whether it is from Kerala or from Tamil Nadu, it's minimal. Maybe we are seeing only tip of the iceberg or tip of what's actually happening. So that's why I mentioned that one line in the presentation, even though it's on IMI, we need to strengthen the surveillance. Unless the surveillance is good, we cannot argue or bargain for another vaccine, or even to show that this is a public health concern. That's a very valid point, sir. And another thing, what Narayan sir said, sir, actually the number of left out, dropout children, it is taken from the number of births that happen. The percentage is taken from the number of children happened, that is taken as the denominator. And on that, whatever the number of children received, each of these antigens were taken. And from that, we take the left out and dropout. So even if the number of birth, percentage-wise, it will not affect, but the total actual number of children, the number might come down. But the same thing happened during COVID. Even parents were apprehensive on taking the children for vaccination, and many sessions were not conducted. So definitely the number of children who are left out and drop out is much bigger than what we had in 2019 or early 20.
Yeah, true. Yeah, Dr. Andhagasan is there? I think there would be. Anybody else wants to make any comment? Because we don't, our chat box is empty now. I think Rugmini madam is muted.
Rugmini madam is mute.
There was one question regarding compulsory immunization card in the schools, whether it can be made compulsory. There was one question in the chat box, sir.
Yeah, that this we have been discussing at IAP forums this because we have been trying for that, making IAP compulsory vaccination immunization card at school entry. But or maybe over the last 4 or 5 years we have been trying. But the problem is that education is a fundamental right of any child. Every child has got the fundamental right to get educated. So by no means we can deny the right of the child to get educated. So whatever said and done, if there is it cannot be made compulsory because we cannot deny a child his right to get educated. So making a compulsory won't work in near future. That's what IAP feels.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Narayanan, sir. Thank you, Dr.
Now,
Prathap.
now there's another question also. How important is JE vaccine, Prathap?
Again, the same issue. So at present, in Kerala, only 2 districts are doing JE vaccine. One is Trivandrum and the other one is Alappuzha. Again, the same reason, because unless we can show that we have JE cases in other districts, or actually it's a public health concern. If you can show that data, definitely we can get that vaccine introduced to other districts also. But in spite of having 2 outbreaks of Nipah, still that AES, acute encephalitic syndrome surveillance, has not picked up. So these are some of the issues we have with surveillance. Unless with the data we cannot bargain or even request for a new vaccine or expansion of vaccine to other districts or introduction of another schedule. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, before handing over the mic to the president, I should congratulate Dr. Bennett Sailam and Dr. Santosh Kumar and Dr. Praveen, who was the secretary during the last 2 years, who have been doing an excellent work under the banner Kavacham, because I was the president in 2020, but I can very well say that the best branch as far as immunization is concerned, it was Trivandrum branch during these 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I request Dr. Benno Antro, our treasurer, to say a vote of thanks. Please, Dr. Benno.
Thank you, madam. It's my privilege having asked to deliver the vote of thanks. On behalf of IAP Trivandrum, I would like to extend my hearty vote of thanks to our honorable delegates who took out their valuable time from their busy schedule and enriched us with their knowledge. First and foremost, I would like to thank our distinguished speaker, Dr. C. Vijayabhaskar sir from Government Stanley Hospital, Chennai, for giving us an insight about atopic dermatitis and dealing on the key aspects. Thank you very much, sir. I express my deep gratitude towards Dr. G.V. Basavaraj sir, who is Professor and Head of PSU IGICH, Bangalore, for chairing the session. Next, I would like to thank Dr. Prathapa Chandran sir, who is a State Surveillance Medical Officer, WHO, for the excellent presentation on Intensified Mission Indradhanush 4.0 and making similar a fulfilling one. And I express my gratefulness to Dr. M.Narayanan sir, Consultants and Children's Clinic, Kochi, who is National EB member and was the President IAP Kerala 2020, for chairing the session. Thank you, sir. And I would like to thank Dr. Vijay Kumar sir, State President, Dr. Johnny Sebastian sir, State Secretary, DMO Dr. Dikru sir, Dr. Divya ma'am, RCH officer, for attending the session. And last but definitely not the least, I would like to thank all the audience for their patient listening. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. The meeting is now dispersed. Thank you all.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you, Narayan.
Excellent program.
Thank you. Yeah.
Rugmini madam. Thank you, Siby.
Thank you, Basarai sir. We will work for you always.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam.
Prathap sir, thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Dr. Prathap, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, dear Prathap ji. Seeing you after a long time. Nice to catch up. Thank you very much, Madam Rugmini, Madam.
So nice seeing you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm driving, so I'm not able to show my face. I'm sorry.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.